Hey there, everybody. This is Silk. Just want to chat with you a little bit about, wrap up here for Operation Octopussy. Probably should have gotten this out a couple days ago, but things got pretty busy for me here. I don't actually have a whole lot either, partially because it really was just kind of a one-sided game as things turned out, which happens from time to time. Things will crash to one side or the other. Sometimes it's the Axis, sometimes it's the Allies, and sometimes it's the Russians. I've kind of seen all three. So we'll just kind of chat a little bit about some things and their interest. Not a whole lot for the Soviets, unfortunately. As you guys kind of saw, me coming and building my force big enough to force the Germans out. The Soviets are kind of a mid-game sort of faction anyway, and with how little money I had, it kind of changed my clock, so you guys didn't see a lot of things I would normally do because of that. Tech program was great, though. Oh, my Lord. But I'd love to have that tech program again. And dice or dice, eventually I will. But who knows how long that'll be, because that was I think through turn 12 I was still in the high 60s. Might have even gotten over 70% hit rate. Just really, really good. But for the Soviets, struggled with the money. Rolling a 1 on the first die hurts quite a bit. And then I think the other one wasn't very good either. Was it a 4, maybe? On the second one, wasn't again didn't unlock tech until I think turn 7, which as it turns out didn't matter because my tech dice were amazing. But money dice, it just really forced me to be slow. I knew the Germans were going to come for me eventually, although they actually spent more time finding the Allies than I expected them to. I thought they were actually going to come into me a little earlier than I expected. But overall, things on that theater went pretty close to kind of how I expected. That the Germans would come in, and then I'd be able to kind of build and push them out, and you can kind of already see that happening, and it would keep going. But their cash advantage was way higher than anything that I could offset, even as I would eventually start to take some money back from them. They had money to spare in spades. CCP went pretty much normal, at least, actually I shouldn't say normal, went good. It was a good CCP. We got to live, we got to get all 3 coin flips. Japan didn't really put much effort into killing me. They decided they wanted to go jack the Allies instead, which means they left less dudes. But again, because my money from the Soviets was so low, I couldn't really support the CCP very well. And because Japan's money was so high, I didn't really see a situation where I'm able to take anything away from Japan. So there just wasn't a whole lot there, just kind of a blah sort of thing. As for the pace of the game overall, and to kind of give you guys an idea of why kind of threw in the towel there with the Soviets, even though, we weren't dying, but the Allies were in a terrible spot, of course. But as a concept, when you're playing, and it's turn, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, those sort of five middle turns there. The Axis, if they're at 120, they're kind of in trouble. And by 120, I mean their combined income between Italy, Germany, and Japan. If they're at 120, they're struggling. If they're get to 130, obviously things get a little better. And 135 to 140 is really where they want to hang out. If you can get to that, if you've got a $60 Germany, a $70 Japan, and even a $12 or $10 Italy, you're doing fine. Like that is the Axis rolling. And if you can hit that for 3 to 4 turns, if you can stay in the 135, 140 range, Axis probably win. It's not exact. Obviously, points are points. Board situations are different. Don't take it as absolute gospel, but as a concept of how well am I playing, that is a barometer you can use. And it's about that 135 to 140. If the Axis are there or higher, they're doing well. If they're below that, they're in trouble. And you can kind of shift it from there for your expectations. I think the Axis right now at this board state are at 150 something, 153, something in that neighborhood. Just so much above that number. And yes, they will eventually lose some money, but it's way, way too late. They've gotten so much cash. A big part of that is Calcutta falling as early as it did. That's why. It's just the Axis are going to have enough IPP that they're going to be able to survive the American, onslaught and deal with it. Basically, is kind of what it comes down to. Even if Russia, as I moved in to help them, it was just going to be too late. So that's why I spoke with Panzer J and Boston Bruce and whatnot. That was why we threw in the towel. As far as kind of how we got here and what happened, first time we played Commonwealth is rough. Like, it is by far. I don't think it's the hardest faction. I think Germany is. But Commonwealth is the one that if things go poorly, if they go south, if you make a mistake, it is by far the least forgiving. Your simple errors or simple just misjudgments of what you're looking at the board can just cascade around you. And you have so much territory to protect because you've got, Calcutta's obviously a spot, Egypt's a spot, Gibraltar's a spot, and then, London, southern England is kind of your fourth spot. And you don't have enough resources to cover all those. You just don't. Wouldn't be a very good game if you did. It'd be pretty static. So a lot of what the Commonwealth is shuffling your stuff around, try to kind of figure out how to take a punch and then, transform back into a counter punch. And it's just something you learn as you play. I have full confidence that Boston Bruce will have a much better Commonwealth game next time he plays than he had this time. Just lessons you learn from playing, So, well, he kind of let us. His forces were spread out thin enough that the Axis were kind of able to sort of attack them and cut them up piecemeal, and he just couldn't ever get his feet kind of underneath him because of that. And that's how the avalanche kind of went down. America coming into the war on turn 8 is normally a pretty awesome thing. Like that's a whole lot of money, but again, they were so far behind the 8 ball, and it kind of takes so long to get America going. It still takes about 2 to 3 turns for American units to really start having an impact on the board. And by that time, they were already set. Really, Germany and Japan were already entrenched in what they needed. So that's about it, I guess. If anybody has any particular questions, throw it out to me. I'll try to kind of answer as best I can. But that's all that is. And we're on to the next one. Should have something for you guys pretty soon on that. It might be today, might be tomorrow, but it should be pretty soon. We'll see you all in a bit. So take care, everybody, and have a great day.